Hi there, Sandra Mateo here from Gitana Styling. Today is day number 2 of our training, personal styling for you and your brand. So I want to ask you, how did it go yesterday? Did you go over the worksheet? Did you answer the questions, right? Do you have any questions? Please leave them below. If you have any, I would love to answer them so you can keep moving forward. Today, we are going to talk about colors and styles. So yesterday, we focused on the foundation of the business. We talked about the different messages that we're sending out there and made sure that all of them kind of represent a big message and that they all blend into a perfect and flawless foundation, right? Today we're gonna take those messages and we're going to add the visual elements like coloring and style to make sure that they're saying the same thing and they're sending and they're being represented in the right way. So number one, do you have your worksheet? Did you print it? Go ahead, pause the video, print it out. I sent it in an email yesterday. If you don't want to waste paper, even though I don't think this is a waste, you can go ahead and just keep it in your computer and fill it out in there. That's fine too. If that works for you, go ahead. So my number one question is, remember the 3 words that describe your brand? We talked about that yesterday. Which are they? And just write them down. So these 3 words have to tell people all the time what you do in the best way possible. So pick those 3 words, excuse me, write them down, and we're gonna use them for the second question. I'm gonna have to have a sip of water. Excuse me. Too much talking. So it says, the second question says, what look or style does your brand have or would you like it to have? So you're going to take those 3 words, right? And you're going to see if they're being represented on your messages and your graphics throughout, you know, all the different platforms that you use. So if you pick Instagram, for example, which is a very easy one to analyze this kind of thing, if you go to an Instagram page and you like it, you naturally feel attracted to it, you possibly see that there's like a story that is being told to you. You can really notice a color scheme, you can really notice certain elements that are repeated all over the place, certain kind of messages, and so those people are doing their job because they're telling you who they are, what they do, with those 3 words in mind or more, and they're doing a good job creating a place in your head that actually recognizes their brand and knows what they do and can tell people what what they do. So you want to do the same thing. You want to go to your Instagram or Facebook or whatever, right? And you have to be very objective and say, am I sending a constant message about what I do, what I stand for, what my services are, or is it all over the place? Am I telling 100 stories every day, right? So make sure that you're narrowing it down to these 3 words and that you're narrowing it to a certain style, right? Maybe you're daring, or maybe you're hip, or maybe what you're doing is very innovative, right? Are you transmitting that in your pictures? If that's part of your style, of the image you want to portray, write it down here. The next question, is there a character, sign, or prop in your branding? So some people use, hearts or arrows or an elephant, right? Do you have any of those kind of icons or monograms that you use for your brand? Are you using them constantly? If you don't have them, maybe it's your colors, or maybe it's another thing that catches their attention. Maybe you have a little cartoon or a little person that talks to people, right? Whatever it is, write it down in here. So then the next thing is, what are your brand colors? So, this is very self-explanatory, right? You need to know what colors do you use constantly. You need to know the number, so you always use the same colors. So if you go, my logo, for example, it's black and fuchsia, and then everything I put out there, right, has fuchsia, and it has pink, and it has aqua. Most of the time, those are the colors, right? because I want people to recognize my brand, right? And you should do the same thing. You want people to, if you give them your card, it looks, it has the same look that your website has, that your social media accounts have, so people can, recognize your brand and pick it out of a crowd, right? Think about, let's say you're going to go to an event and you're going to be a vendor. Can people really pick out your brand out of the whole lineup, right? I know that some of us, we have already a product and we're very specific with our colors and everything. We have our logo, we have the different fonts and everything, but it's not only about that, it's also about the things you're putting around it. So maybe the way you're setting up the booth, or the way the pictures you're taking and the pictures you're sharing on social media, are all of them within the same family of colors, within the same style, within the same with the same font, right? Because you want people to, again, pick it out of a crowd. So the next question says, what fonts do you use in your logo, in your slogan, in your motto, right? Everything, when you send out a newsletter, when you give them your business card, when you're putting a post out there, it helps people recognize you. Think about those ads you see in magazines where sometimes it's just not one page but like 3 pages, right? And they have like something else in between. You know the brand. Let's say it's Gap. You see the first page and they don't tell you it's Gap, right? But they put a piece of clothing and then they put a certain writing and stuff, and you're like, oh, that's Gap. And then you flip the page and then there's another thing with maybe a model and another piece of clothing and something else written, and you're like, oh, this is definitely Gap. And then you flip the page and then you go to the last one, and then there it is, the logo, and maybe they have a sale, or maybe they're just telling you whatever, right? So you want to create the same kind of effect. You want people for people to see just a piece of you and know, oh, that's you, that's definitely Sandra, or that's definitely Amy, or that's definitely Katrina, that's the kind of thing you want to do. And then the last one is, list 3 emotions you want people to feel when they see your post, website, and marketing materials. So remember when we talked about yesterday about why you do what you do and what are the reasons behind what you do? Then think about those 3 emotions you want people to feel, and make sure that everything you're putting out there, your posts, your newsletter, your offers, make people feel those 3 things, because that's the bottom line, right? That's what you want them to experience. So make sure to include that. And then tomorrow what we'll do is we're going to focus more on the personal side. So we're going to talk about personal styling. So it'll be a fun day. If you have any questions about today's lessons, please leave them below. And I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching.